As it is his habit, Brackett has stolen the thunder from me. And he uses the phrase, much is expected of you, with a challenging remark, as well as humbling. Let me start, if I may, with a disclaimer. Xusen Adan has not asked for this trouble. As a matter of fact, I dragged him into it kicking and screaming. He did agree that it is time that Somalis learned to honor their own, but he wanted the honoring to go to someone else. So he would respond to me by saying, what about so-and-so? In fact, he just uttered a string of names, and I would say, no, I ain't interested. What about so-and-so? No, he says, I say, I'm not interested. I'm interested in you. Finally, after 6 months of speechifying, in which I talked at him, around him, over him, under him, the man began to fear I might talk the hind legs of him. So he relented, and I rejoiced. And the master of Somali proverbs is here, Georgi Kapchits, and I'm a little nervous. waxaa la yidhi shimbiri maalin bay dab qaatay maalintiina gurigii hooyadeed bay gubtay. Translation: once upon a time, a bird tried to help to do something good for her mother by offering to transport the fire for the family, and she ended up burning down her mother's house. By analogy, this is the first time ever I have tried to do something good and Xusen, I hope I don't end up burning down your house. Let's go to the beginnings for a second. In the lush green valley, on the foothills of Mount Meru, 50 miles away from Hemingway's Kilimanjaro, in the Tanzanian city of Arusha, in April 1943, a baby was born of a Somali father from Hargeisa and a mother with a mixed pedigree of a Maasai woman and an Indian Muslim. Ain't that exotic? According to my passport, and I say according to passport because nobody knows the year of my birth, I was born among the camels, and camels do not keep records. According to my passport, I too was born in 1943. Obviously, genius has an excellent sense of timing. "1943 heralded the birth of two stars." Other things happened too. SYL, for one thing, Charles Geschechter's birthday. But I do not want to go too much into this too, because I do not want to share the attention with anybody. Being raised in a strange land necessarily involves growing up hazards. In the notes that he kindly provided me with, Dr. Xusen reminisces. Thus, for Xusen's coming to Somalia, we have that headmaster to thank. At his secondary school, and again I quote from his notes, there was a lot of bullying. Fortunately, I was protected by Ismail Okash, head prefect, a Somali from the Adan. Despite the bullying and general brutality, he graduated at the top of his class, then sat for the Cambridge administered exam. As a result, on account of that impressive scholastic achievement, a letter came one day from out of the blue, and lo and behold, it contained an offer of a scholarship to Princeton University. Ivy League Princeton. Woodrow Wilson Princeton. At Princeton, the boy from Arusha came to rub shoulders with, among others, the eminent General Muhammad Abshir Haman, who was on his own scholarship. Abshir Haman, creator and commander of the Somali police force, which at that time was rated one of the best in Africa. Think of that. Somalia had once one of the best police forces in Africa. The rest is history. BA from Princeton, MA from Makerere College, and as you recall, Makerere College at that time was referred to as the Oxford of East Africa. Am I right, Xusen? Another MA from Harvard, then the icing on the cake, a doctorate. Thereby, Xusen struck a first, the first Somali, to my knowledge, with a doctorate from Harvard. Does anybody know anyone else? The topic of his dissertation, the social and political thought of Frantz Fanon. You remember Fanon? The intellectual titan in 20th century African thought. Dr. Adam's professional career is too vast to recount, but a few highlights. In addition to his formal degrees, he received diplomas or attended seminars at the following: Institute of Social Studies at The Hague, Holland, American University in Cairo, University of Paris. By the way, I did not know that you also got mixed up with the French. And are French speaking. Then, subsequently, he taught at the following: Makerere University College, Somali National University, where he helped educate a great many Somalis, Brandeis University, and last but certainly not the least, the College of the Holy Cross, where he serves as a distinguished member of that department's, of that university's Department of Political Science. Impressive scholarly output too. Author, co-author, or editor of, by my count, 9 books, the latest just hot off the press from Red Sea Press. Kasam, you have the book on display? Buy the book. I got my copy. It's in here. Entitled From Tyranny to Anarchy, the Somali Experience. Scores of essays in learned journals. Book chapters galore. Awesome. Dr. Adam's academic honors and awards are equally too numerous to recount. I will not even bother to go there. Xusen officially migrated to his beloved Somalia in 1974, where he began a new life in a new country. As it turned out, beloved Somalia was not always kind to him. During the long reign of Muhammad Siad Barre, he was repeatedly passed over for government positions worthy of his stature. Repeatedly, year after year, illiterates were appointed to choice ministerial posts on account of their ethnic connections, while the Harvard Don looked on. If that jackal that went by the name of Siad Barre had a drop of patriotism in his blood, he would have, at a minimum, appointed Xusen as ambassador plenipotentiary to the 3 East African countries of Uganda, Tanzania, and Kenya. With his native Swahili, exceptionally high learning, and urbane manners, diplomatically, he would have run circles around the blood Abyssinians, and Somalia might have been saved from the fate that was to befall her. If there ever was a man with grounds for grievances, it is Xusen. But he took it all in stride with grace and without bitterness or grudges. And that, ladies and gentlemen, bespeaks character, backbone. It is the distinguishing mark of a noble substance. But in a sense, this injustice might have been a blessing in disguise. If he had gotten embroiled in the political world, he would have been lost to the world of Somali education, where many have learned from his giving nature. He gave much and received little in return. By the way, lest some of you think that I am given to singing panegyrics, may I remind you that Xusen and I have had a few guerrilla skirmishes, which on occasion flared up into veritable sniping. He once called me an opportunist. I won't tell you what I called him in return, to return the favor. Then, according to a morbid Somali proverb, Wargiyorgi, translate grammar mahdan. According to a morbid Somali proverb, Adunku madami budashe. The world, help me out, the world. Hold on. Adunku madami budashe. The world was born with imperfections. Xusen was going from success to success, living the dream life, what the Italians call la vita dolce. Dolce vita. Yeah, thank you for the correction. With his family, when suddenly his world came crashing down around his ears. In 2002, disaster struck. His beloved wife, Fadumo, suddenly succumbed to a coma. Instead of ditching her in a hospital bed, as many would do, he took her home where he has been ministering to her to the present. And this, in spite of a full schedule of teaching, researching, and writing. After all, he is the breadwinner of the family. Again, ladies and gentlemen, that bespeaks character, substance, grace. In other words, Xusen was plunged into the fiery furnace of tragedy, a mere man, and he has now emerged a hero. And as the English bard reminds us, by the way, I recently learned that Shakespeare was a pothead. They examined his pipe, and it reeked of reefer. As the English bard reminds us, some men are born great. Some acquire greatness, and some have greatness thrust upon them. Undoubtedly by his response to the calamity that befell his family, Xusen has acquired greatness. And don't be fooled by his frail-seeming demeanor. The man is made of steel, with an abundance of inner fortitude, and with a wealth of prodigious energies. To sum up, in Xusen, we have a man, a father, an educator, a scholar with unparalleled versatility, and a patriot. In short, a national treasure. I salute you, Xusen. please rise now. Please be seated. Xusen, rise, please, to receive a token, a certificate of appreciation, which I offer on behalf of the Somali Studies International Association and on behalf of all your friends. Special event in honor of Xusen Adan, Friday, August 17, 2007. The Somali Studies International Association is pleased to offer you this token of appreciation in grateful recognition of your patriotic contribution to Somali national life and in respectful observance of your role as the founding father of the SSIA. I would like to invite members of the audience, if any, want to make a few remarks in the way of a... Oh, sorry. Xusen will... I go now.
I am honored, I am overwhelmed, and as I always knew, even though, as he said, we had many skirmishes, Said, in spite of his size, is a very gentle heart and a very sensitive person. To begin my very brief remarks, I would like to introduce the members of the family and the extended family that are here. So I will call each one, they can stand. I will begin with our second oldest daughter, Farhan Adam. Farhan is a school teacher in Boston. I would also like to introduce with her husband, Mohammed Sudi. I'd like to introduce my fourth daughter, Zahra Adam. Now I'd like to introduce the oldest son in the family, Guled Adam. I would like to introduce my daughter-in-law, Samda Ismail. I'd like to introduce Samda's brother, Abdi Fatah Ismail. And also Samda's other brother, Ahmed Ismail. I'd like to introduce my nephew, Hussein Abdi. I would like to introduce my niece, Nima Timir. I would like to introduce my friend and also cousin, Abdi Musa. And finally, and with all respect, I would like to introduce Guled's mother-in-law, Amina Maxamuud. As I said, my comments are very brief. I wish to thank the organizers of the Columbus 10th Congress of the Somali Studies International Association, Abdinur Mohammed, Abdi Kuso, Said Shire, Laura Joseph, Steve Howard, the director David Crowbill, and Amy Patton, who did a lot of the work, and our Eritrean brother Girma Mengash. With all the others' names, I've not, for the sake of time, did not include. I'm deeply grateful to Professor Said Samatar for his unselfish and noble gesture. I sincerely hope that the tradition will be continued, involving even more deserving candidates than myself, and that it be continued in all Somali professional associations. And now we are in the diaspora, we have a chance, and I already have seen there are a number of Somali professional association, community associations, that they would make a way to introduce the principle of merit of work contribution in order to serve as a model for the rest. I also, among other things, want to, as I already mentioned, to commend Professor Said Samatar for his refined sensitivity, which he reflected when he proposed this event, and as always for his very great Somali sense of humor, which is what allowed us always to make up whenever we As Said implied in his sponsoring memo, this is an honor not only to me, but also to my dear wife, Faduma, who has been in a coma since September 2002. One night in 1978, while lying in bed next to her, I began to sketch potential names and acronyms for the association in order to propose it to my colleagues. The first combination I came up with was International Somali Studies Association. International Somali Studies Association. Unfortunately, that spells ISA, so we felt we were introducing a clan thing just before we started. The second name I sketched, and she was next to me watching, is the International Association of Somali Studies. International Association of Somali Studies, which spells I-us. So we didn't want to be referred as us's in the future. It was at this point that she took the pen and said, why don't you try this? She put SSIA, the Somali Studies International Association. Beyond that, she was the coordinator of logistics for the Somali Studies International Association Congress, the first one held in Mogadishu, 1980. She was the communication director in terms of helping me with correspondence for the 5th Congress of Somali Studies, which was held at my college, at the College of the Holy Cross in 1993. And she has played a supporting role, especially with emails, in most of the congresses, all of the congresses that I've been involved. And memory is not always correct. But I wish to pay tribute in this collective effort to the founding and veteran members of the association, and to those who coordinated previous and, of course, the present Congress and the coming one in Djibouti. I'd like to pay tribute to my good friend and coordinator of the first Congress with me, Professor Charles Geschekter. I would like to pay tribute to another very close friend who served as the program chair for the 5th Congress, the one that was held at Holy Cross, and that's Professor Lee Casanelli. I would like to pay tribute, if he's here, but even if he's not, the person who gave us the first legalization of the association, the lawyer Martin Gensglass. A very close friend who, like Said, has a tremendous sense of humor, and who has also, and I missed the other day, which was my mistake, did almost everything to collect at Indiana all the Somali posters, music, poetry, and that's Brother John Johnson. I'd like to pay tribute to my brother, also very gentle, like Said, Mohammed Mukhtar. Pay tribute to Ali Jumale, who has unfortunately not been able to be with us, who chaired the North American chapter of the Somali Studies Association. I'd like to pay tribute to Ahmed Samatar, who was the first to chair the North American Association of Somali Studies. Pay tribute to Osman Sultan, who with, and I'm repeating this again, with Said Samatar, founded the Horn of Africa Journal. It's this collectivity that makes what we are celebrating. I would like to pay tribute to Anarita Polieli, who organized the 3rd Congress of Somali Studies at the University of Rome. To Dr. Thomas Laban, who organized the 2nd Congress of Somali Studies at the University of Hamburg in Germany. I'd like to pay tribute to Marian Ilmi and Ibrahim Awad. The two of them coordinated the 4th Congress of Somali Studies in Mogadishu. And with Awad, I would like to remark that he became one of the first victims of the civil war. He and his group were trying to run when Siad fell towards the Kenyan border, and he was shot unnecessarily because he belonged to the wrong tribe, the real tragedy of Somali society until today. I'd like to pay tribute to the organizer of the 6th Congress of Somali Studies in Berlin, Dr. Jansen. And also pay tribute to the organizer of the 7th Congress of Somali Studies in Toronto, Canada. I would like to pay tribute also to the organizer of the 8th Congress of Somali Studies held in Hargeisa in 2001, and that's Edna Adan. Pay tribute to the organizer of the Denmark Congress at Aalborg, which was the 9th Congress, Abdul Qadir Osman. Then there is a European Association of Somali Studies, which is parallel to ours. Among its leaders are Martin Owen from London University and Mohamed Gandhi, based in France. Did Mohamed Gandhi make it to this meeting? Okay. I saw him in the... Anyway, so let's give a hand to both Martin Owen and Mohamed Gandhi. And even more, let's congratulate and pay tribute to Susan Lilias from Finland, who organized the extraordinary Congress of Somali Studies in 1999 in Turku, Finland. I wish to bring in here again and pay tribute to Bereket Haile Selassie being the first really from the Horn of Africa to join the Somali Studies and to remain an active member of it. And Kasahun Shikole for being the pillar of publications for not only the Horn but for Africa. And I want again to pay special tribute and let it go to the editor-publishers of two distinguished Somali studies journals whose presence helps to round the profile of Somali studies by giving us an academic side. Because as an association, we were never able to produce the journals. It was done by the efforts of the individuals who are key members of Somali studies. And that is the Horn of Africa Journal with Said Samatar, and the distinguished journal Bildan, founded and run by Ahmed Samatar. Let me also at this point want to thank deeply Ahmed Samatar for convening the panel on me, which is a bit like the precursor to what we have tonight, at your time and patience, and thank you very much.